Hey, Tiger families, it's Mr. Hood, the principal here at Gurry. Hope your school year ended well and that your summer is off to a great start. We are really excited about this upcoming school year and in particular about our new master schedule. We began work on this schedule back in 2018 and we had hoped to be able to implement it this past school year, but unfortunately due to COVID and the pandemic, that wasn't possible this past school year. So this short presentation, will provide some information regarding the new schedule and hopefully answer any questions that you may have. So when we began our work back in 2018 and we began taking a look at our master schedule, we started with the notion that we wanted to begin with the end in mind. And that is, we really felt that the best schedules are going to revolve around where do we want students to be when they head to high school, and in particular for a great majority of our kids to LT. And that why of kind of thinking about, okay, where do we want kids to be, of course, goes back to our mission, our district mission, which is to empower students to make a difference in our world by assisting them to be, self-directed, passionate, lifelong learners. And our vision that we want to continue to be a high-performing school district and make sure that we celebrate the importance of each individual student. And when we began looking at the master schedule, we said, okay, we have students for this much time each day. How is that time reflecting our commitment to our mission, the reason why we're here, why we exist, and our vision of where we want students to be? And our conversations began there and began around making sure that anything that we discussed and anything that we were thinking about began with that notion of that mission and vision and looking ahead to where we want students to be with the end in mind. Our work also revolved around our commitment to the middle school philosophy and structure, which comes from the work around This We Believe. And, the quote here on the slide goes all the way back to 1963, but it still holds true. And a master schedule should reflect the sentiment that comes out of this. And that's that, intellectual growth is a lot more than just, the right answer and getting to the right answer. We need to not only focus on those things, but also continue to stimulate and build a love for learning within our students, an attitude of inquiry, a passion for learning and questioning and thinking and discovery and reasoning and judging and understanding and applying higher level thinking within all we do with students each day. And so we need to make sure we provide our students with an opportunity to explore and grow in many different ways. And as we talked about the master schedule as it currently existed, we talked a lot about how does that structure do those things well, and are there areas that maybe we want to improve in and enhance the experience for our students as they attend Gurry for the 2 years here before high school. We also connected all our work to those essential attributes and characteristics of a successful middle school, which is a place that's equitable for all, empowering. It's responsive to a student's developmental stage, which is so unique in human development, this time frame, late elementary school into early high school, and a place that, of course, is challenging as well. And also connected our conversations and our work around our commitment to the whole child. And that's, again, creating a place that's engaging and challenging, healthy, safe, and supportive for our kids. An equitable place, of course, is so important for all of our students. And we want them, as reflected in our mission statement, to take greater responsibility for their futures and continue to become even more engaged and inspired learners. And with those conversations, the quote that's listed there really rang true to us. And that is, as we looked at a schedule and an amount of time that we have that's so precious each day with students, that as we thought about the master schedule, we wanted to make sure that purposeful structural changes created conditions that foster inspiration, and that we can change the conditions of the starting line where our students gather and then change conditions during the race itself. So creating opportunities with time during the day that provide opportunities for us to meet kids where they're at and then help them grow and achieve and progress in even greater ways. We had other considerations as well as we looked at our master schedule with the introduction of Common Core, Next Generation Science Standards, the C3 Social Studies standards. We need opportunities to have more time for kids to do things like collaborate, utilize inquiry, problem solve, goal set, reflect, get into those deeper learning mindsets. And so therefore extended time and subject areas is very vital around those kinds of experiences that a 40-minute class period just doesn't really provide the opportunity to. We know we needed to, when looking at our time during our day, to provide opportunities for staff to meet, talk about their content and talk about what's working well and have time to collaborate and work together and improve their delivery of that curriculum to students. We also talked about the need for flexible intervention time. So students who may need some tier 2 supports, students who are involved in the tier 1 curriculum that all students experience, but yet might need some additional time for supports or reteaching around those instructional areas. Time for academic support, enrichment and extension for those kids who may be demonstrating proficiency or mastery earlier than some of their classmates and may need time for some additional supports there and opportunities to continue their learning. Study skills and executive functioning supports, of course, are also important to have some time to do in middle school to help build those skills for as they continue on to high school and beyond. And then finally, we had talked even before 2018 as we knew and felt that we need more time for math. When you look at other math experiences for kids, not only in the district, but at the high school level, in up to 6th grade here in District 105, students have approximately 75 minutes each day for mathematics. LTs at approximately 48 a day. We are in our old master schedule at 41 minutes. So we wanted more opportunities for math and more time for math and for students to be able to do the things that we know will help them not only learn the material and retain it, but apply it in ways that are meaningful for them, not only during their experiences here, but as they build for their high school experiences as well. So what we did, just real quick in a nutshell, in 2018, we formed a committee. We met together, and again, we looked at the time we have with kids and how we're using it, and are there things that we could do better to reflect some of the things that we identified as areas of need, which we just discussed in the previous slides. We also wanted to make sure that we maintained our current course catalog. We feel very strongly that we have a pretty robust curricular experience for kids. We didn't want to take anything away. And so we had to think about very creatively, how do we do that? Because we're not changing the amount of time kids are in school. We are rearranging some of that time to better meet their needs. And, so we started in 2018. We met with a consultant, Elliot Marenblum, who's known throughout the country for his work with scheduling and is just an amazing consultant. We looked at a variety of different schedules. We did some visits to schools that year that had implemented some different scheduling strategies. Looked at not only did we visit, but we looked at models of other types of schedules that could do the things that we feel we need to do for kids better. And then, in the winter of 2019, we shared some of those ideas and thoughts with staff and even the school board that year, and continued to investigate and look at ideas for a change in our master schedule, and really ended up settling in on a block format, which I'll show you some examples of that in a minute. But we continued to tweak our proposal and our thoughts and provided, continued research and discussion within our committee and staff, and to just talk about, what we think would work best and what the best model might be. In the fall of 2019 then, and sorry, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. The summer of 2019, we continued that work. The fall of 2019, we identified a book study that all staff participated in. It was a book called Tools for Teaching in the Block by Roberta Senhost. And that book provides just some great tools about teaching in an extended period of time in a block, and how to connect it to an enhanced learning environment, and the different things that you can do to make sure that you keep kids engaged and connected with their learning in a positive way. One of the best things that came out of that book study, outside of just some great strategies and practical applications for instruction, we dove really deep into the science and research around adolescent learning and their needs. And what that did was not only reinforce a lot of things that we know are important for middle schoolers and how they learn, but also it reinforced the need for extended time frames around instruction and the need to move away from the 40-minute period and provide more time for the things that kids need. Again, that inquiry-based, collaborative, reflective type of process that's going to not only help kids learn and retain, but also apply information at higher levels and in different ways and across curriculums and contexts. So our staff also continued to work on that notion of a flexible intervention period and how that would look and how that would operate. We kind of got into the what then, again, some of the advantages that were identified: longer blocks of time. Teachers have more time to complete lessons with greater opportunity for, again, those things that we know kids need. The ability to work well together, to utilize inquiry, problem solve, goal set, reflect, and so on. The extended time provides the ability to develop concepts in a much deeper way, to apply information within various contexts, to incorporate more creativity. It's not fragmented. Instructional time isn't fragmented by frequent transitions between classes every 40 minutes, change every 40 minutes, change. And it also can enhance and will enhance the relationship between our teachers and our students and students by working together and creating opportunities to do all the things that we know adolescents need to do in order to learn as effectively as they can. We know that also some of the other advantages are we'll see improvements in discipline, pacing, attitudes, comprehension within the classroom. Teachers will see fewer students during the day. Students will see fewer teachers. So they'll have more time for reflection and less information to process over the course of a school day. We'll have greater collaborative opportunities for our staff members. And again, longer spans of time for cooperative learning activities, which are so valuable for students. So what this looks like for our kids is, this is a sample schedule. So we will have gold days and blue days, and they will rotate every other day. So on the gold day, on the left, you'll notice that this is just a sample, just an example, but this student would begin their day in science and be in science with Mrs. Noga for 75 minutes. Then they would move on to English language arts with Mr. Ingerson and be in ELA for 75 minutes. Then head to Spanish and then lunch. And then after lunch, head to math with Mrs. Needley. And then on that gold day, we'd end the day in that flex period, and I'll provide more information on that in a second. On the blue day, the next day, the student would begin in PE. Now you'll notice that every day students have ELA and every day students have math. So every day students are going to be connecting with their ELA teacher and their math teacher. The other subjects will be every other day. Social studies would then be next after ELA, then lunch, and then of course math. And then that day, blue day, they would have their exploratory, whether that's performing arts or visual arts, STEM or health. The amount of time increased in these areas, for example, in science, will provide a much greater opportunity for students to really be able to experience the lab that they may be working on in a much deeper way, in a much more thoughtful way, than trying to rush through a 40-minute period. Greater conversations in social studies, deeper conversations, debate, arguments, cooperative work, and so on. So again, we had to be creative in how we utilize the time that we had. We still have 8:15 to 3:15 with kids every day. That didn't change. But how could we address those things that we talked about earlier? The need for instructional opportunities that reflect the needs of an adolescent learner outside of a 40-minute class period. How do we provide more time for mathematics in a regular and consistent way? How do we maintain our course catalog that we're very proud of and we really think is a great experience for kids, but and not eliminate anything to provide maybe more of that mathematics time or the flexible intervention time? And really felt that this model, which is found in many schools and many block schedule components, really would be a great way to do that and kind of meet all those kind of the whys of the reasons, the purposes behind adjusting our master schedule. These are the timeframes per day, so you can kind of see the gold day and the blue day. And then our Wednesdays, of course, are those 2:15 days. And that day we will have our advisory period after lunch or before lunch, depending on what grade you're in. And then again, you can see we have that flex time on those gold days. And flex is divided into two sections, which I'll talk about in a second. So, so what will this flex time look at? We will have two approximately 36-minute time frames within that block. So there'll be what we'll call 5A and 5B. The purpose of it will be to provide intervention for students that are not meeting mastery. We want to provide fluid interventions for students. In other words, not interventions that they will be in for the whole year. Maybe they don't need to be in an intervention for a whole year. Maybe a particular unit needs some additional support. They could be in there for a few weeks within that intervention and then move back into something else. We want to provide opportunities for enrichment opportunities for students to extend their learning. And again, just collaborative interdisciplinary opportunities during that time. So what does it look like? There are two. Teacher directed. So, a student is in need of some support. Teacher will direct them to, their flex period or opportunity within their subject area. Extended resource. Teachers can check in with their students with IEPs and ensure that they're on the right track and support them through their needs. We will have a testing center. So, in the past, if a student was absent, making up a test, either that meant coming in before school, after school, or missing more class time to take the test or the assessment that they missed previously. This can be done now during flex time and will not impact their instructional minutes. And then it just a lot of multi-purpose pieces within the teacher-directed option. At the beginning of the year, a lot of transitional activities after COVID and the multiple kinds of schedules that we had last year and remote school and hybrid and all those things. We're going to need some time to reacclimate kids to school and how it works. And so those things at the beginning of the year, even things like taking survey, preparing for high school placement, assemblies, PBI celebrations, concerts, musicals, those things will take place during flex time. So they will not impact instructional time during the day. There will not be a need for shortened schedules or other things that we've had to have with the previous schedule. We're also looking at and really excited about student choice options. So drop-in labs where a student maybe they're not directed to go there, but they want to go to a math lab or an English or exploratory or PE lab where they can work on things that they may want some support with or may just want some time to dig deeper into. Enrichment opportunities, teachers working with kids to further their learning about topics that may interest them beyond the curriculum. And then open zones for independent academic needs. So, Flex is just that. It's going to be a very open, flexible time frame designed to provide the supports that kids may need in order to find some more success within their school day. I added some of the references here from some of the studies that we've done and some of the different things that we've utilized in our studies over time. We are, of course, very excited about this opportunity. We have worked really hard to and have been very thoughtful about thinking about how we take the time that we have with kids each day and how we manage it well. As with everything, we will be evaluating its implementation throughout. We'll be asking for feedback from parents, kids, staff, and making adjustments as we go and improving it as we go. But we definitely feel that, again, going back to the beginning of the presentation, why we started, what we need for students, how we can improve their experience here at GURI. This opportunity is one that we think will make quite a difference for kids. So thank you for your attention. Please email me or call me here at school with any questions or concerns. And again, looking forward to a great school year. Not yet, though. We want to keep enjoying the summer and hope you're having a great one. But we look forward to seeing you in the fall and continuing the great things here at GURI. Thanks for your time.